video is about parent respect. It is Peace Place's plea with the community to learn who we are, to respect all of the choices and challenges that our families face, and to enter into what is wonderful. I always love to say that every child is a joy, and if we are lucky enough to get to know each one of these children, we receive that joy.
My name is Sarah Whitney, and I am a mother of a 12-year-old child that has special needs. At 4 months old, Caden started seizing, which unbeknownst to me, I thought he was having stomach pains. Took him into his physician, and 6 hours later, we came up with the fact that he had diagnosis of seizures, which is kind of an alarming diagnosis. So it was really hard to see him progressing, and we just kept getting the he's delayed, but not hitting his marks, and it was all racked into with seizures. And unfortunately, later down the road, we realized that it wasn't just the seizures, that Caden also had some developmental delays, the seizure disorder on top of. A gal had reached out to me online and said, "Your son's pictures look eerily familiar, and I believe your son has autism." And so it was this kind of a, well, who in the world do you think you are? And as a mom, the ego says, well, I know better and stuff, but I also took in the back of my mind and started going researching and looking and saying, well, maybe. And the more that we looked at it and realized some of the characteristics of autism were matching with what he was going through and going, okay, the delayment wasn't just from seizures. So it's made for a lot of toughness. He's incontinent, he's nonverbal. Makes for some struggles, I guess, as a mom. I was going to school as a respiratory therapist when Caden was first diagnosed. So I've dropped out of school and life changed quite a bit. And I started working in a bar and a casino for 10 years, and because it worked for the hours. Every bit of our life is scrutinized. We're met with a lot of resistance on categories of things that you didn't realize that you had to open your door to. My life is an open book for everybody in the government, every person. A situation that we've taken on with grace, but with a lot of struggle in the meantime, and constantly hearing, like, I don't know how you do it, but I know that we would all do it because it's our kiddo. And I will absolutely continue, but we are met with a lot of resistance everywhere we go. Some stuff that people in life can't even fathom that they would hear about their own child is some of the hardest comments as a mom. But I also work as a family advocate in the field, and so I get to see A to Z of kiddos in diagnosing, some terminal, some non, and it's has no ethnicity, it has no race, it has no creed, it has no discrimination of any sort. Special needs comes in all shapes and forms, and it comes with a lot of love, and it takes people that have genuine care to stand into the position and do this.
You are my child, you are the pathway to the soul.
I love to show that picture to people because I know what it is like to have a child who is different. And when you first hear that your child is different, it's not like it's a surprise. You knew he was different, or she, but then it just brings with it such a grief. And you just have to give people time to process that grief. I mean, they deserve that time. And as they understand better what it is that different will mean for their family, then they start to adjust around that and they start to grow into that. The families who face a diagnosis here in Montana, the closest level 1 trauma hospital is actually Salt Lake City or Seattle. And my families at Peace Place end up going to those hospitals regularly, and some of them multiple times a year for various procedures, for checkups, for pediatric specialists who there are none in Montana for that particular specialty. We know that our families are not only traveling, they have the cost of travel, they have the cost of these extra copays. Question for them is not, well, will my child do baseball and will they play the violin, or will they, I don't know if I can afford all those things. For our families, many times they're making choices about their personal health care because their child has to come first. Those copays are so important that in their family budget, they can't imagine not, they might not even get insurance for themselves personally. So then their personal health suffers. And this is not their fault. This is not them being irresponsible about themselves. This is them making the best of a very difficult situation. So we really believe that our families are under stress in a way that other people have a hard time understanding. The families of Peace Place also face a tremendous amount of stress in their everyday lives. We had a very difficult winter last year. I want you to imagine trying to push a wheelchair to your vehicle in 20 degrees below zero weather, and to have to help a child get into the van and still stay warm and still stay comfortable.
I think it's important to remember that not all of us understood this until we started living this life too. I still don't understand Caden. Every day I'm learning. So, and I also have another very typical child, so I've seen very broad side of the spectrum of life, and so we have to come with grace some days too, and understand that not everybody fully knows what you're going through either. So to meet somebody with grace and maybe give them a bigger picture of what you're going through so they can come at you with grace as well. No matter the needs or the abilities, we have to remember that they are able and they're not disabled. They're very able.